delivering, whether it's in the ERP, whether it's in bank assurance, whether it's in core banking system. So at the end of the 6 months, you have very good experience. And the requirement which is there by most of the employers, you have to have experience. We already get it when you get this particular program. So, and this is something which has been replicated across various innovation hubs across the country. So you can leverage on that, and it will give a lot of experience and a lot of exposure. So that's something that really we can benefit from to grow our tech talent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go to Naftali, taking the same question. What, in your perspective, is Kenya strong positioning in the software, in its quest to become a software hub of excellence?
Yeah, it works. Yes, thank you for that. I think, as the speaker has mentioned, I think from morning we are all in agreement that there are a lot of innovation hubs which are already coming up, which have already tried as much as possible to incubate, to develop basically talents. We basically, the generation of coders, I call them coders because our universities are producing coders, who are basically engineers, is the first step. However, in my experience, this industry is moving so fast to the extent that the coders also have to catch up. So it basically means we start moving the coders in the value chain. The engineers need to start moving up in the value chain. What does that mean? It basically means the time the engineer used to take to develop what I call the old school coding is changed. Now we are doing viping. Basically it means you're going to use a small time to develop. So what is that going to make to change in the country as Kenya is, we are going to have the talents who are going to start shifting in terms of what areas of development we want to do, because we need to move from AI feature applications or AI as a feature in our dashboards to changing to automation of software. So automation basically means that AI takes center stage in the workflow, not as a feature. So the country needs, that is what the country needs, so that we can compete globally. It basically means now we should not just be focusing on developing applications with AI features. We start focusing on developing automations which are AI-centered, and that will make us a bit more competitive, and we'll be able to do a lot of automations, and that will make us more competitive.
Thank you very much. Focus on AIs and AI-focused automations. Thank you. So we want to go to Savio. Savio Wambugu, you run a very active developer community at Mount Kenya Hub. From your perspective, what do we have going for the country?
So first of all, I guess for me, it's a totally different thing in the first question, whereby I guess the biggest strength that we have as a country, apart from just developers, because there's a lot of people who can develop, and I have seen a couple here, is that Kenyans can test, they are ready to test anything. And I can give an example. When we were idle back in 2014, developing some systems, and me and my friend decided to develop an app called Nothing and uploaded it on Play Store. I guess even as at now, that's the most application that has the most downloads. When you open the app, it just does nothing. And when we did other different systems, people were reluctant to do that. And to make even the matter worse, we even did an upgrade of the same app. And down there indicated that we can guarantee that this system and this upgrade is going to do totally nothing to the app and to your phone. We had over 6,000 upgrades. So I guess the biggest thing that we have as a country is that Kenyans are ready to test and do anything. Back to your question, I guess, Kenya has among the most communities. And if you look at even the regions, we have GDGs, innovation hubs are doing hackathons and these kind of things. That's one of the most strength that we have as a community, because even for engineers, they do not need to go far to start developing solutions. They're interacting with them next door. And it's an edge because I remember one day, just 30 seconds, I remember one day when you were in the university and there was a competition to compete on how to do student attendance in class. And I was seated there, 2013, and there were no communities. And this is how the strength of communities come in. And we started developing. For me, I thought I was a genius. I never knew that I was among the most foolish people. Decided that I'm going to develop a solution to record student attendance using Bluetooth. I spent around 3 months trying to develop Bluetooth itself. I didn't even get to a point to develop the solution. And then when it came to when we asked to go and present, one of the most foolish persons that you could never think about asked me, but you, Savio, why are you developing Bluetooth and it's already there? So according to me, if there was a community, the whole 3 months could have been saved apart from just in one day. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Same question I want to pass to Dr. Mark Matuga.
Thank you. First of all, I just wanted to indicate that I'm a fisherman from Lake Victoria. I live on Mfangano Island. What I see in Kenya is courage. Courage to do anything that needs to be done. And that is why Kipchoge tells us that no human is limited. And there's a reason I say that I come from Mfangano Island. Because in any case, it is the farthest place you can go beyond Kenya if you actually have to stay within the borders of Kenya. And I look at myself having come from Mfangano Island, went to school and went to study. Actually, my first degree was in theology before I went on to study computer science. All I'm saying is that Kenya has courageous, strong-willed population. And it's not just young people, by the way. I'm a grandfather of 4 years old grandson. I've been in this industry for almost 30-something years. But I think that it is important to note, and this is my message to everyone, that with AI, you do not have to be a computer engineer. You do not have to be strong in science. AI provides a level playground. I look at a simple scenario in Nakuru where, of course, Konza Technopolis gave us some computer labs in Nakuru, and we only had about 11 young people that we put into the space of actually developing an LLM. For many of you, you can remember that about 4 or 5 months ago, we unveiled our first LLM called Simba AI. And it is possible that it can be done here. And so for me, what I saw in these young people in Nakuru is basically the courage. One of them basically studied geography. One of them did not make it to college. And these are young people who said that, hey, you know what? With this, I can do it. And so there's great, great potential in Kenya that is actually built around courage.
Thank you very much for that perspective, that it really just starts with the basics of taking courage. Moving in to Dr. Olekuru, the question is on building up on what you did, the presentation. What will distinguish winning software companies in this AI native era, especially in emerging markets like Kenya and Africa?
Okay, and a number of things there, but I'll just pick two because of time. One, and just goes through your first question, what does really Kenya have? In addition to the young population, which by the way, average age for Kenya is 20 years old. So all people here, we are that young, so you can imagine that. We are attracting many companies to this country. Many partners are coming to us because they know our potential. Therefore, what's going to differentiate success in adoption of AI, it's the problems, the challenges they'll address. And above all, it's not just artificial intelligence, augmented intelligence. That responsible use of AI where a human side of it comes into place. And that's where I think we're heading to. So you got developed countries, now they're no longer just excited about what AI can do, but it's the responsibility that people use when they're having AI and what challenges is it solving while it puts the human person in the place.
Thank you very much for that. Back to you, Eliud. What can you say from your experience and the work that you're doing at E&M Tech? What can you say makes the foundation for scalable applications?
Yeah, thank you. What I mentioned at the beginning, at E&M Technology House, we have been able to develop a number of solutions, and those are solutions which are fully locally developed, supported from here, implemented from here. And I'm talking of solutions like ERP with the complete HR, procurement, fixed asset, and so on. These are solutions which have been already implemented in various customer sites, and over the years we have been able to run a lot with that. One thing which I will start with is there is the aspect of programming, there is the aspect of developing solutions, and then there is the aspect of developing scalable solutions. What is most of the training are purely focused on programming. To some extent, you can go and do solution development, but coming up with a solution which is scalable is a challenge. And I'll start by giving maybe a brief definition of a scalable solution. A solution which is scalable, it's something or an application which can be able to resize as you need it to, depending on the performance need. If there is a spike in the number of requests, the solution is able to increase or to expand. I actually use the word malleable. Is the system malleable? Can it resize as per the need? And what we have seen, most of the solutions which are developed, even if they are addressing a specific need, but when you need that application to scale up, to serve a high number of users, it's not able to. And maybe that's one of the challenges we are having with our locally developed application. And that's something that we have to see, how do we solve that particular challenge? And within E&M Tech, of course, the scalability has to start from the beginning. It has to start from the beginning. You cannot make a solution which is non-scalable, scalable. You have to plan from the beginning. What kind of architecture are you going to deploy your application? Is it a monolithic application? Is it a microservice-based? I believe most of the coders here know the MVC kind of topologies and architecture. You know about the microservices, you know about the issues of caching. How can you ensure that your application does not keep on fetching data from the database, but you can cache it within your browser? How do you optimize your database? Okay, those are some of the various activities that you can use to scale your application. How do you process some of the processes in the background with the asynchronous kind of processing? So if you don't plan that at the onset, at the initial start of development, you cannot change that application in future to become a scalable solution. So what will happen is you'll have a very nice application which is running very well when you are testing, or when maybe you are using a very few number of users, or maybe very few transactions per minute. But the moment you really want that application to serve a huge number of throughput, it actually fails to perform. On our side, we have applications which are running in various banks, some of the biggest banks here in Kenya, and even in East Africa. And that's something that we have seen happening on a re-rive. So you have to start from the beginning. You plan that your application has to be scalable. You cannot change it when the application is fully developed. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very elaborate. Developing software is like building a house. If your foundation can only make a bungalow, it can never be a maisonette. So we start with the architecture. We have 10 minutes, my panelists, so I'll request for quick fire, 2 minutes max for each of the remaining speakers. I'll start with Naftali. And you are very passionate about the Blue Ocean Strategy, the spider economy, and collaboration in the space of innovation. We want to ask a question around, in a Kenya that is now moving into AI and deep software, how can we ensure that collaboration and networks are leveraged to create new markets rather than fight for the same contestable markets that already exist?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm very passionate. I think 5 years ago is when I authored a book called Spiderweb Strategy. That was basically going to look at how collaboration is the new innovation. And at that time, I was looking at how spiders have changed. Spiders are solitary animals, basically. Over time in Amazon, scientists discovered that they can no longer be able to feed with the small webs. So what they did is to collaborate and create big orbs, which can capture big prey. And at that time, my concept was that the top companies globally, which have basically been able to kill the big corporations as it was, are basically startups. And these companies are anchored in collaboration and what we call interconnectivity and the creation of ecosystems. If you look at Airbnb, it's basically interconnectivity. Uber is connectivity. Facebook is connecting you, it makes money. So all these are basically based on interconnectivity. And that is what will make a small startup easily go global. And that is basically what we need at this age. AI makes it easy. I'm going to give one specific example. One of the startups I started 6 years ago, it's called Izawadi. You go to M-Pesa app, you'll see Izawadi. It's basically a gifting platform. And at that time, it was very difficult to start selling it out. Why? Because software as a service platform in Kenya were not really something that is people are taking it. But what we did is create a collaboration with multinationals, Visa, and a number of gifting platforms in Europe, in Asia, and all these. In 1 year, we were able to push millions of money through those platforms. Why? Because we knew that if we start looking at programming and looking at application from a solitary perspective, it becomes so difficult to scale. And that's why a lot of companies in Kenya, basically tech companies, struggle so much, because if they're not funded, then it becomes so difficult for them to scale. They can't bootstrap. And the reason for that is because they don't believe in building ecosystems. What is happening right now is that you have to work through ecosystems, and that's how companies scale.
Thank you very much for that. Build ecosystems and collaborate so that then we can develop scalable applications. I want to ask a question to Dr. Mark Matuga. And the question is, what capabilities should we be building as a country to compete in the software sector in the future?
Thank you. Allow me, Josephine, to make some controversial statements here. Number one, each one of you come from what we consider politically a ward. You belong to a constituency, you belong to a county, and obviously many of us belong to Kenya and other countries. Allow me to send you to your politicians that in 2027, each one of them will not be running against their opponents. They'll be running against AI. That is really the technology they'll be competing against. And what do we need to actually be able to get to that point? Partly because nearly, and this is why this is another controversial statement that I also want to make courageously, that there's a time where we used to talk of technology creating human clones. The time is now. AI is going to create another Mark Matunga, which will be either an AI agent or a mini model. AI is going to create another Josephine. And these, I'm telling you, are actually opportunities that we have. In about 2-3 years, we will be 60 million Kenyans living on this planet. And those are opportunities. In other words, all of us here can get to start our businesses of developing AI agents to develop an agent for every single individual. And in about 4, 5 or so years, every single person here will have an AI agent. What then do we need? We need to actually continue to generate data. So we need data skills. That is important, that we actually have people who actually learn something around data. In my experience developing the LLM that we actually developed, one of the rare skills that I know is extremely needed in this country is, I think it was mentioned by McKinsey, and that is DevOps. I think in Kenya today, I don't think that we can even get to about 100 DevOps. And that is a rare and an important skill that actually we need to be able to develop. I want to also make another controversial statement, which I already mentioned before, that with AI, we might not need engineers, in the sense that we need engineers to be the ones who are actually develop. Gone are the days when we used to sit behind the computer and do the things that we need to do for everyone. That is no longer happening. Why? Because AI will actually be able to do that for us. So then what do we actually need? We need business skills, because nearly everyone here is going to be able to actually generate websites, generate AI models, generate AI agents for a host of people that will actually need those services going forward. And of course, IT engineers, don't get me wrong, will still need you, but I'm just giving courage and encouraging a lot more other people that might want to actually use AI to get into this space and to do a whole lot that can actually be done and achieved for this country.
Thank you very much for that. As we come to the end of our session, I want to invite Savio. Savio, based on your strategic role as a software developer, as a developer of ecosystems, and also serving in the board of ICT Authority, if you could implement one change, or one change that would change the software sector's contribution to our GDP, what would that be?
I don't know whether it's also controversial. I can see the data commissioner is here. For me, I don't like following rules, but basically I would make sure that everything is open source. And the reason including data, the reason is traditionally we used to compete on who can build the best product, which product has the best features and those kind of things. But in the current world, people don't care about those kind of things. A lot of developers can build very clean softwares, and even if they can't, AI can develop that for them. So for me, I guess it's a mind shift of moving from building products to platform, whereby even before you start developing, you already start asking who can integrate with me and who can I integrate with. So with the open source kind of mentality, it makes sure that not only it's not one person who is a source of truth, is a source of data, and this kind of thing. So for me, I would just try and make sure that everything is open source, and of course, with a little of ethical standards and those kind of things, yeah.
Thank you very much for introducing ethical standards, open source, and that is all about data protection, data security, which also will be discussed. Dr. Olekuru, I want to invite you to also support this discussion on the change that we could do.
One key point to encourage government and private sector to believe in the talent we have in the university. Many AI professionals, many data scientists, it's taken a while for our companies to believe in the local talent. Companies have been hiring people from abroad. They'll give projects to companies from abroad. We have the right talent here. And I like saying, Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Attitude is contagious. Make yours count. Government, public sector, private sector, especially local companies. We have talent in our local universities. Come, get them. They'll solve the problems for you. Let's build our own Kenyan AI from the ground, bottom up.
Thank you very much. As we come to the end of this session, I want to take us back to where we started. We said that in the morning we looked at what it takes to make a champion. In this session, we have looked at what it takes to make a software champion. And as we come to the end, I want to remind all of us are implementing software. And in the morning, I was reflecting on the human body, which is perhaps the most complex software system that is run. And each one of us, every morning you wake up and the brain and the mind is running a very intricate software that drives our functioning for the body. And that is also equally important, that we all have a role to play when it comes to the development of our software industry. Whether you are a back-end, front-end, database administrators, and all that, cloud developer, or even the user of applications, you have a role to play as we develop and transform Kenya to become a champion of software in our era. And we also want to remind you that we have 2 days of engagement. We want to invite you to engage more, introduce yourself. We want to make sure that we understand as many projects, initiatives that are going on between ourselves or amongst ourselves in the spirit of collaboration, in the spirit of looking for resources. Find a space. There's a lot of meeting spaces that you can undertake. We want to see how many intentions to collaborate can start, how many B2B meetings are being done, and also working together to develop and transform Kenya into that level that you want to see. And so our challenge is to invite you to make it personal. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that would make my investment here worth it for me? So we are going personal. And you want to say whether it is for me as an individual, for me as a startup, or for me as a company. And you know many of us are seconded by our companies. And our challenge as a team is to invite you to make sure you go for it. Don't wait for it to come, go for it. Amongst the 1,000 delegates we have here, there's a solution and there's a possible journey to start. A marathon of 42 kilometers starts with the first step. Thank you very much, panelists. It's been great, and we want to invite you for a group photo.
Yes.
Let's see, there's also something for the team. Thank you.
Don't worry, I have some very nice things, definitely. They're right here. So let's appreciate them. Thank you so much for that time. Photography, if you don't mind, you could take the snap very fast because we want to transition to the last session of the day, then we can call it a day. And it's going to be very short, straight to the point. In the meantime, may I have Michael getting ready so that at least we can be able to transition quite fast. There you go. Let's take a picture first. Want to take that picture? Let's look at this person. The other one is fake. I'm joking. Let's look at a lot of them. Guys, can you come closer to each other so that they all look at you in a way? Yeah. Photographers have an interesting beef, but they will work together. Thank you so much. You can receive the gifts as you exit. We'll appreciate that moment. There you go. I hope nobody has a problem with receiving a gift, or you will go and declare. But the issue is that they're below minimum. So no worries, just open at home. Thank you so much. Michael Odhiambo, Director Digital Infrastructure and Service at ICTA. Kindly, if you don't mind, please come up. So that you can take up through this. We would appreciate you. He's our moderator for this particular session. We're talking matters, discussions on software as a catalyst for inclusive growth, jobs, and competitiveness. Thank you so much. Excellent. And just before I give Michael the microphone, that sounds nice. Before I give Michael the microphone, some of you will get it tomorrow. Please stand for a moment, stretch, and then sit. Stand, stretch, sit. If you can kick, let the blood go where it's supposed to go, and the food you packed, find the other corner. then sit down. Thank you so much. We appreciate you for that. So Michael, over to you. Kindly come take the stage. Michael will be inviting the last speakers of the day. By the way, on the Slido, we're still checking. If you have any questions, feel free as well to ask there so that we can be able to interact and flow. Michael, how are you doing? Just put it on nicely so we can check that we can hear you well. All is well on your end? Just press it harder. Yes, excellent. There you go. Lovely. We good?
Yeah.
There you go. So Michael, I have a gift for you. This. Thank you so much. Asante-san.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. So as it's been said, my name's Michael Odhiambo. So mine will be brief. Mine really is to welcome on stage our colleagues so that then we can go through what we are terming as software as a catalyst for inclusive growth, job, and competitiveness. Maybe just before we start, it's interesting that we are here today, and one interesting thing has happened here today. Savio, I don't know whether he's still here. So Savio was mentioned to be a board member at the ICT Authority, and you know, he asked us to do something very interesting. He actually challenged us at the authority and made us then look out and ask ourselves whether we should be going OEM or open source. And he told us to think and think hard. Let me just say I'm glad to hear what he just said because it's made our work easier, so we don't need to do a lot of what is already asked. But nevertheless, mine really is to welcome my colleagues on stage. I'll start with Mr. Lunga Zoke. Lunga leads a cloud transformation strategy, architecture and adoption across industries with strong focus on financial services. He's got over 17 years of experience spanning software engineering, enterprise architecture, and cloud solutions. Lunga has guided some Africa's largest organizations through critical transformation journey. The one thing about Lunga that I find interesting is Lunga worked for AWS, previously, and now he's working for competition. Lunga is the Chief Technology Officer for Huawei Cloud Sub-Saharan Africa. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, Lunga. Next on stage, I don't know whether she needs any introduction, but let's see if you know who she is. She has over 23 years of experience in private and public sector managing complex projects in governance, training, compliance, and strategy. Her contribution to the development of regulatory frameworks for data protection in Kenya paved the way for robust data privacy practices. Currently, she serves as the first vice chairman of the board of Network for African Data Protection Authority, NADPA, positioning Kenya prominently on the data protection map. She was awarded with a Vanguard Award during the 6th edition of the Nairobi Legal Awards. Let's put our hands together for our Data Protection Commissioner, Immaculate Kasait. Thank you, Immaculate. Next on stage, she's a technology IT landscape expert, having worked with teams across different industry sectors, manufacturing, aviation, banking, and technology industry. She spoke at the Harvard University on Microsoft ecosystems in Africa. She was part of the executive leadership team and led the digital transformation at Stanbic Kenya and South Sudan as head of engineering in the CDN Bank. Catherine is passionate about using technology to create business outcomes, a champion for inclusion for women in tech. Let's welcome on stage Catherine Muraga, the MD, Microsoft Africa Development Center. Last but not least, a Kenyan American and the CEO and president of the Pathways Technology Limited. I like that introduction. He also has a postgraduate certificate in corporate innovation from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, as well as an executive certificate in public policy with a focus on governance in technology innovation from Harvard Kennedy School. Let's welcome on stage Mr. Onditi, Joel Onditi, who is the CEO of Pathways Technology. And I think with this panel, I will not say where I went to school. Let's just say that my name is Michael Odhiambo. So thank you very much, and we'll just go through a round of quick questions, and thank you. But before we have the questions, originally we had planned to have each of the panelists take us through some presentations, but in the interest of time, we are going to allow them to give us a brief of what it is they'd like us to know about where it is that they work and what they do, and where AI can add value for what it is that they do. So first and foremost, I'd like Lunga Zonke, the CTO, to tell us a bit about Huawei and what he'd like us to know today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you for that wonderful introduction as well. So, as mentioned, name is Lunga Zonke. I serve as the CTO for Huawei Cloud Sub-Saharan Africa. You know, my talk was going to be around AI for industry. Okay, so you know, and the work that Huawei is doing to power, you know, sovereign AI throughout the African continent. And one of the things I want to highlight, you know, is our key strength and our, you know, strategy at Huawei is AI, sovereign AI for the African continent, right? So, and how we do that, we achieve it through our full stack AI, right? So we've got public cloud regions across Africa. So we've got a full scale cloud region in South Africa, 3 availability zones. We've also got a full scale cloud region in Egypt. And we've got a local region in Nigeria and another one coming soon for Kenya, right? So that's our public cloud offering, but from a private cloud perspective, we're working with a lot of organizations across the continent, so private organizations, governments, and academia, you know, to establish private cloud environments, so what we call Huawei Cloud Stack, or HCS, right? So that was our private cloud offering. So that runs locally within the region. You know, to power up that sovereign AI, right? So it starts with AI native infrastructure. Then on top of that, we've got AI native frameworks like Model Arts for developing and managing your model life cycles, all the way through to what we call Pango models, right? So Pango models are the models that we term AI for industry, right? So it's models that are trained and specific to solve specific industry problems, right? So that's some of the work that we're doing, and what that does is enables sovereign AI solutions to be built on the Huawei platform. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lunga. I want to move to the extreme left to allow Joel maybe just to say something about Pathways and what relevance Pathways would bring to this particular conference. Joel.
Thank you very much, Michael. Again, my name is Joel Onditi. I'm the CEO at Pathways Technologies. Now, Pathways has been running for the last 12 years, formerly founded in the US, in Colorado. And the goal of Pathways is to deliver real-world applications in analytics and in AI. I was happy to see my former colleague, Eliud. I worked with him back in the day at Equity Bank. Now he's running E&M company. That was 2007-8. And I left the country in 2008 to specifically go out there and study about data and AI at the time. So I can say I was one of the early adopters. I saw it coming some 16 years ago. Currently, Pathways is delivering real-world application, and I'm happy to speak about a couple of those. So 2 main areas that we specialize in. One, we do a lot of skilling around analytics, around AI, and then we also deliver solutions. I know a lot of us have been asking ourselves, is AI a hype? Is it a buzz? We're not seeing real-world applications, and that's exactly what we do at Pathways. This summit is definitely on track, on time, as we talk about putting Kenya on the map in terms of building solutions, exporting solutions. I think the time is ripe. With the Pathways team here in Nairobi, we have been delivering these solutions for over 10 years. And I can tell you that Kenyans are able to do that because we have been able to do it over the last 10 years. And so it's interesting just to hear from my colleagues in terms of how we can come together and deliver these solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think something interesting that Joel and Pathways have done that we saw, for those of you who went round, they've done an interesting credit scoring system with the Fortune Circle. They've also done a mental health AI-based system for the Red Cross, and that actually won an award, I think sometime last year. And I say these things because these are examples of local content on AI-based systems based in Kenya. Thank you very much. Next, we'll allow Microsoft to say something, and maybe Catherine, you have the floor.
Thank you, Michael. My name is Catherine Muraga, as introduced, and I lead the Software Engineering Hub for Microsoft. Part of my speaking remarks, I wanted to focus on 3 things. The first one is to sound an alarm. It's great we are having the Software Summit. It is great. Speakers before us spoke about skills. But did you know, if you look at the KCSE results, 2024, 50% of the candidates got a D and E overall score. What that means, it limits the number of students who take up STEM courses. Yet on this other side, we're saying we want to be Silicon Savannah. What do we do about the mismatch? I don't have answers, but I said I'm sounding an alarm. Yes, it's great. Universities are doing a great job. But what do we do about that 50%? And it's not only unique to 2024. It's been consistent. Maybe it's a result of the free primary and free secondary education. I don't know. Yeah, there's need to do a bit of research on that. That's number one. Why is it important? Because if we are to develop truly Kenya as a software hub, we need skills at scale. So where are we going to get the scale if we don't win hearts and minds early? So I see an opportunity. How do we leverage this AI era to really tap into what is it about some schools, some counties? How come they perform well? How can we leverage technology to port that to now to these other counties that do not perform well? That is one. Number 2, our national anthem, there's a line that says, "Plenty be found within our borders." One of the things that we have in plenty today is a youth bulge. And I said in a different forum last week, one of the things that we've done very well as a nation is to market our wildlife, tea, coffee. Time is ripe for us to market the youth. And a number of them are skilled, but they cannot get jobs. And also the ones who get the 50% I've talked about, the TVETs. How do we repurpose that population again and market it? Because we all know the impact of high unemployment. Lastly, I said I had 3 things. The last item. I know we're having a software summit, but it's also worth mentioning, software does not operate in isolation. There are also other skills. And the gentleman from McKinsey touched on it in his slides. There's also a demand for other skills, machine learning, and hence the sounding of the alarm. If we have 50% of candidates getting D and E, machine learning will require mathematics and statistics. We have an issue. We also need cybersecurity skill set. Cybersecurity has had gaps for years globally. So that's another component. We need cloud and many others. Let me pause there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. And finally, we get to hear from Immaculate Kasait, the Data Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I thought Shege made us do some exercise. Just a quick one. We are the ones who are responsible for providing guardrails. And I will just give an analogy. The analogy this afternoon has been about building houses, and you cannot scale a storied house if the foundation is wrong. How we come in terms of ensuring that the guardrails are followed is an issue of trust. Same analogy about building a house. If you're building a house, and as you build, you leave windows. As you build, what will stop thuggery? As you build, you don't reinforce. What will stop somebody from breaking into your house? We exist as a regulator to make sure as you build, because software is about building, you take into account those safeguards that matter to every single human being. Because at the end of the day, we are human, we are entitled to self-dignity. It cannot be that we are treated like commodities. I know I'm speaking to techies who get very unhappy when they see guardrails and they're saying, you're stopping us from doing what tech was supposed to do, get as much information. We are not stopping you. We are simply saying, be transparent about it. That is where we are there. As the person who is a custodian, as the institution that is custodian, to make sure as you build, you're taking care of those things that matter. The other analogy I want to give as I conclude is if prehistorical times, we all walked around with nothing on. We moved from that generation. We are in a space where if we did nothing about making sure we are shielding the very essence of what we are, we then expose those that matter and those who we are building for. Will it matter to your business if those you're building for, at the end of the day, become targets? It affects their mental health. It affects their trust issues towards them being stolen from because their financial information is out there. It affects that you even know what they are doing every single day. At the end of the day, they need to feel that their dignity is respected. That is why we exist. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. By the way, as we were preparing for this panel, we had to be clear that we are all registered data collectors and processors, just to ensure we are compliant. So thank you very much. So we'll move into a quick round of questions to our panelists. We'll just do one each and then give the audience an opportunity to ask any questions you may have. And we'll start with Lunga Zonke, the CTO of Huawei. So Lunga, given the new buzz with AI and where you sit from Huawei as a CTO, what would you say Huawei is doing for AI, specifically around the area of sovereignty within the African continent?
Thank you very much for that question. I think before I answer that question, right, I mean, if you look at the stats, it's very interesting. I mean, we have over 170 countries having declared a digital transformation strategy. And about 60 of those countries have a national AI strategy, right? For me, it highlights something very, very important in that nations are no longer competing on infrastructure, but they're beginning to compete on intelligence. And it's very, very important for nations to own their intelligence, throughout, right? And that intelligence starts from the data, right? From the infrastructure that's used to process and compute against that data, and all the way through to the models, which brings me to my answer. And I touched on this previously, right, around working with governments and working with private institutions to establish AI native cloud, right? So Huawei, we've got what we call AI native cloud. So it's an extension of cloud native where we make our infrastructure to be AI native. So in other words, AI is built into our infrastructure from the ground up, right? So from how we manage our storage devices to the monitoring and through to the entire data center operations, right? So we've got those private clouds that we're setting up with nations like Kenya. For an example, Kenya, we're working on a project called AICC. That's the AI Computing Center, right? So what this does is it's got AI native infrastructure to ensure that data is processed locally and that Kenyans can then use our models, which we call Pango models. So Pango models, we've got a number of industry-specific models we call Pango, right? So what it is, we've got models like Pango NLP for natural language processing. We've got Pango forecasting. We've got Pango computer vision, which allows models to see images and process those images, right? So those are our basic LLMs that are specific for certain tasks. Then at the next layer, we have a layer 1 industry model. So we take these Pango models and then we customize it for industry. For an example, the prediction model is customized for finance forecasting. It's customized for weather forecasting. And these models are in use. They're used in China, for an example, Shenzhen in China. They use the Pango weather models to detect tropical cyclones and so forth, which happen frequently in that region. All right? So these models exist, they're in use in China, and we're bringing these models to the world. So Africa can use their own data in their own local data centers to then fine-tune these models with their data so that those models are native or Kenyan specific. And then on top of that, it allows nations to build AI applications on top of these frameworks.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. And AICC, I think, is something quite interesting, and I think we should be looking forward to that. And I hope that's something that's spread across the continent. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I think the next question, we shall move to Catherine, Catherine of Microsoft. And Catherine, what would you say is Microsoft up to, or what is Microsoft doing for the tech ecosystem, especially around the AI space?
Yeah, Microsoft has been very intentional, especially partnership, to begin with the world of academia. For example, we've partnered with 16 universities